And I think we've talked about a lot of frameworks, models, methods that we use and can use, and I think one of the key things for me is about it would actually be a balance between the things that are needed to improve practice across an organisation and as organisations as a whole, and also the individual performance of practitioners within that organisation as contributing to that as well. So it's how those, I suppose, those models, frameworks and tools are applied, and that will differ from agency to agency and organisation to organisation. But for me, the crucial bit is about getting the balance right now.
I think quality and continuous improvement, if you asked your average service user or someone who's obviously engaging with the services what it looks like, to them it means just getting a good service, a good quality service that can change, that can develop over time, that's responsive to their needs, and it's got kind of quality people there, folk who are competent to do their jobs, and can actually deliver what needs to be delivered.
I mean, just to add to that, I think the aspect of exploring with service users, community groups and reps about what they feel the community learning and development service should be like and what it should produce is really, really important. And all too often we maybe forget to ask people or listen to them about what they expect from the service. And I think getting regular feedback from service users and from communities is hugely important to our practice, and getting an assessment of that practice from their perspective as well is really crucially important.
I think for me, especially from my youth work background, it's actually a thriving, exciting place to be for young people. So, but that you could apply that to other, to adult education or whatever. It's actually the people are enthralled about being there, and that's what gives it quality. So I think sometimes we get into this discussion at quite a kind of cerebral level in terms of professions and what we think we're offering. But our profession, unlike many others, people vote with their feet. So the young people don't have to be there. It's a voluntary participation. They can walk out at any point. So that's critical feedback for us. And I think we get that critical feedback coming back day after day, and that helps us improve our service. What we're maybe not so good at, and what we maybe need to improve on, is how we communicate to other stakeholders the impact of the continual processes of changing and adapting our activities to ensure that they fit young people's needs.
I think a good quality service is one that is responsive and meets the needs of the people who are using the service, so listens to them and provides it in a way that they want it to be delivered. And I think CLD have got that in spades.
I think if you ask what does quality and continuous improvement look like, I think quite simply it looks like good practice, and I think across Scotland there are many different examples of good practice, whether it's working with communities or working with young people, or certainly working with adults. And if we think about it in those broad terms, then we are certainly it would be helpful for us to share those examples of good practice, learn from it, and hopefully take that on board so that we can improve what we do.
In terms of what it looks like to me is things that we learn about in uni at the moment, which is the CLD competency wheel. So a lot of the things that we base our knowledge on is the competency wheel, and that is how we deal with professional development. We do professional development classes, and within our workplace we use the different frameworks from the Scottish Executive, including like how good is your CLD practice, how good is your school, and the Curriculum for Excellence guidelines.
What does it look like? I think for me it's about culture as much as it is about systems. So we have the phrase quality and continuous improvement, and we quite often think about it in terms of systems. We think about it maybe from an HMIE perspective, or whether we've got a funding application to fill in, or we've got another manager pressing us to deliver a particular outcome in a particular way and to describe that. I think we need to get beyond that and think about it as a culture of quality and continuous improvement, where we're always looking both individually as professionals, how can we improve ourselves in the way that we practice, but also systems as well. But it's not systems that we try and fit into a box, but we create the right kind of systems to match the climate that we're facing, all economic, political and factors that are part of that, but also the actual what young people and communities want, that we're responsive to that. So it kind of fits back into the point about being responsive to users and communities as well.
For me, it's really about making sure that there are systems and processes in place that allow you to effectively analyse need, plan the outcomes you're trying to achieve, look at what the actions that you need to take, and then evaluate. So it's about making best use of the kind of tools and processes that are out there and adapting those if required for local circumstances.
That's where the organisation comes in, so a good community learning development organisation will have these tools available, will be creating space, will be making sure that the staff and the volunteers, everybody else kind of understands that it's important to the organisation and that the resources and support are available to allow that kind of reflection to take place.
It looks like something that service users are engaged in on the same basis as the providers. It looks like something that's creative, that people see the relevance of, and that they get how it informs good work and good provision.